And now I would like to recognize Levi and Shannon Rogers, the state winners of the last year's Achievement Award, to announce this year's Achievement Award winner.
Good evening. I'm Levi Rogers, and this is my wife, Shannon. We are honored to be selected as last year's Achievement Award winners. Tonight, we're proud to announce the winner of this year's Achievement Award contest. As you know, this contest seeks to recognize outstanding young farmers in our state for their growth and development of their farming operation, their leadership skills, their ingenuity, and their Farm Bureau involvement.
The winner of the Achievement Award will receive a new Ford F-150 pickup truck and $500 compliments of Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, 250 hours use of a Kubota tractor of their choice, compliments of Kubota, 100 hours use of a 150 horsepower John Deere tractor of their choice, compliments of John Deere, $500 compliments of Southern Ag Credit, $500 compliments of Watson Quality Ford, $1,800 for technological improvements to their farm, and an expense-paid trip to convention at the AFBF Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award Contest held at the American Farm Bureau Federation Annual Convention in Nashville, Tennessee during January 2018. Please turn your attention to the screen to meet this year's regional winners.
Our first nominee is Walt Rambo from Sunflower County. Walt is a first-generation row crop farmer.
My wife's grandfather, when we got married, helped me rent 50 acres. And I borrowed some equipment and bought a little equipment and gave a guy a post-dated check for a combine, old 1977 combine, and we kind of have very humble beginnings, and we're still a very humble operation, but we're moving in the right direction.
His farm is roughly 400 acres of rice and soybeans currently, but he does have expansion plans.
Our rice is a specialty rice that we grow for Uncle Ben's. It's an old conventional variety, and a lot of this rice will be used for the 90-second microwavable rice that you buy in the local grocery store.
Walt has partnered with NRCS to build a tailwater recovery system to reuse water on his farm.
We have a 20-acre reservoir that is fed by a 1-mile-long ditch that is 36 foot wide and about 8 foot deep, that everything on this farm is landformed to drain into. We have a relift pump system on the west end of the ditch that lifts into the 20-acre reservoir. We have underground pipe. For instance, this field right here, we are doing side inlet irrigation on our rice. At the same time, we're watering row fur irrigation on some soybeans right across the turn row. I went into a partnership with USA Rice and Ducks Unlimited, and we put in flow meters on our surface water pumps as well as our aquifer wells on this farm, and we're using Precision King water meters in the rice, and it is a 4-inch diameter PVC tube with holes drilled in it, and it has an infrared sensor in it, and it relays a signal both to my cell phone as well to the pump in the reservoir. And I can set the parameters to where it will cut on and cut off water to maintain the flood level that we're looking for in this rice crop.
Walt is very high on the value of Farm Bureau to agriculture in Mississippi.
I think the Farm Bureau is extremely important as a voice for farmers. It gives me, as a 400-acre farmer, the same voice that a 10,000-acre farmer has. And they're fighting for us on issues that we don't have time to worry about when we're in the middle of irrigation or the middle of harvest or the middle of planting. We have people like Justin Ferguson who are in DC, and they're fighting for us, and Mr. Mike McCormick are dealing with everyday things that we don't have time to deal with as farmers.
One Farm Bureau program that Walt likes is the Farm Families of Mississippi campaign.
Ashley and I and our kids were fortunate enough to be on a billboard last year, and that's been kind of neat to have people that I hadn't talked to in 10 years or 15 years that I knew from college call me and say they just saw me on a billboard wherever they live.
Walt has been involved in many areas of the County Farm Bureau, including being the County YFR Chairman. His wife Ashley is a registered nurse, and the couple has 2 children, Addison and Wyatt. Our next finalists are Justin and Suzanne Brooks from Yalobusha County. The Brooks operate a diversified farm that's been in the family for generations.
Fourth generation farmer, great-grandfather, grandfather, and my father farmed. He passed away in 2011. That's when I took over, and I have a pretty diverse operation. Sweet potatoes, cotton, no grain. I grow somewhat of a truck patch, 15 to 30 acres of watermelons, sweet corn, peas, squash, tomatoes, okra, you know, that kind of stuff.
After harvesting his truck crops that feature some of the best watermelons you've ever put in your mouth, Justin is finishing up his sweet potato crop.
I think we're gonna be somewhere between the 300 to 400 bushel of field pack grade potatoes, which field packs 1s, 2s, and jumbos. But I think we're gonna be between 300 and 400 bushels per acre, which is, you know, that's pretty good. I'll take it.
In addition to his field crops, Justin also has a herd of cattle.
Well, I've got 78 head of cow-calf pairs, and then I've got 55 steers that I'm feeding. So, yeah, I got a pretty diverse operation. Got a few cattle, and, you know, it's something to do all the time.
As the year winds down, Justin then shifts gears and runs the night shift at the local cotton gin. He says this helps supplement living expenses for the upcoming year. But Justin proudly states that Suzanne is the glue that holds this operation together.
My wife's very important to this operation. She takes care of the day-to-day bill paying and makes sure I'm fed, make sure the kids get back and forth to school. I have no idea about any of that. She takes care of everything that has to do with the kids, the household, the bills. She takes care of all of that. Great partnership. Couldn't do it without her. Wouldn't even want to. Wouldn't even want to.
Justin is chair of the county YFR committee, and he and Suzanne have served on the YFR state committee.
Oh, that's a good experience. Like I said, it's similar to the county-wide deal, except Suzanne and I get to meet young farmers that we would never get to interact with otherwise. We would, you know, those guys in the Delta and those cattle farmers in South Mississippi, and even I met a guy that grows watermelons down there in Smith County. We would never get to interact with those people. We've made some friends, and I'm sure they'll be lifelong friends, and that's pretty important to us.
The Brooks have 2 children, Andy, who is 5, and 3-year-old Bailey. Next, we have Adam and Laurie Steele from Pike County. The Steeles have a poultry operation near Magnolia.
We have 4 broiler houses. We started in 2011. We purchased the farm in foreclosure. We come in and upgraded, got started. We actually purchased the farm in 2010, July 2010. We didn't get birds until February 2011. The broiler houses, done pretty good with them. Our target weight is 9 pounds in like 60 days right now.
Days on a broiler farm are pretty busy.
In the mornings, I get up and I help my wife get the kids off to school, and then I come up to the farm and go through the first 2 houses and just make sure no feed lines are running dry, or make sure everything's okay, and I'll go over to the other 2. Make sure the birds aren't sick, make sure the water lines are the correct level, the feed lines are the correct level, temperatures are correct, make sure that all the fans are working properly, and then as you go across, you know, just doing that to all 4 houses.
In early 2017, avian influenza was found in Tennessee and Alabama. That put poultry farmers in Mississippi on high alert.
They've really pressed real hard on the biosecurity. They want limited amount of visitors to a farm. If you go to town, before you go to the farm, you need to change your clothes.
All of this is done to keep the birds healthy, so the product is safe to eat for the public. The same goes for the way the birds are raised in normal conditions.
We have them inside the house to keep them where we can control the climate, the temperature, the feed and water. I mean, they have it made until they leave here. I mean, as soon as they get here, it's 91 degrees, and when they leave out, it's 60 degrees, or that's the target temp. If they're not comfortable, they're not going to grow correctly.
The Steeles also have some pine trees on their land.
In 2014, we had planted 35 acres here of pine trees. We've actually, probably 2012, we purchased 26 acres right down the road. They were 8-year-old pines then when we purchased it. They're getting close to time to thin.
Adam and Laurie have been involved in many areas of Farm Bureau, but especially the Young Farmers Program.
We met a lot of other farmers and great people, and we met a lot of other poultry farmers, because when you're out here on the farm, you don't see anybody or talk to anybody, and it's good to go and with the other young farmers and talk about what they do and what we do. And like a row cropper, he has no idea what we do, and we can talk about it and learn. It's a learning opportunity.
Laurie is a lab tech at a clinic in town, and the couple have 2 sons, 8-year-old Slade and Sawyer, who is 6. Our next finalist is Marlo Beeson from Neshoba County. Marlo and her family run a small dairy just outside of Philadelphia.
We milk twice a day. We start usually at 7:30 in the morning and milk again at 7:30 at night. And we pasteurize and bottle milk every day, sometimes twice a day.
The pasteurization process is done on site, where they use a lower temperature over a longer period of time to give the milk a creamier taste. The milk is not homogenized, so you have to shake it before each pouring. But that's the charm of milk from a local dairy. The young folks think it's cool, and the older folks remember that this was the way they did it when they were kids. Marketing is a 2-pronged approach. They have a small storefront where the public can come and pick up milk right from the milk barn on the honor system. They can even make their own change in the basket. They also have a delivery truck to take fresh milk to stores.
In the beginning, I did all the deliveries, and so for the last 2.5 years, we've had someone doing it. And we go to restaurants and coffee shops and grocery stores in the area. We go as far north as like Starkville, Brooksville, and we go to Jackson area and Meridian area.
Beeson Farms also hosts many school and church groups throughout the year to let them see the whole process of how milk comes into the barn in a cow and leaves the barn in a milk jug. Educating the public on where their food comes from is essential to their understanding of farmers.
I think it's so important because people just think it shows up at the grocery store, and I'm not talking about just kids. Adults even think that. They think that it just shows up. They don't think about how it gets there.
Marlo emphasizes that it's exciting that she and her family have grown their farm into an operation that is touching the lives of so many consumers, while also being financially rewarding. Our next finalists are Sean and Morgan McDonald from Jones County. The McDonalds have a poultry and cattle farm near Ovette. Sean says they've been in the chicken business for 5 years.
My grandparents grew chickens in the early 80s, late 90s, so I had a little idea of how it operated. And then her dad had a farm, and we started out with that farm with the original 4 houses, and then we bought her grandfather's farm, which gave us 4 more houses. On the side, we do litter. We clean out chicken houses, decay, do custom spreading, just about anything that deals with the litter we pretty much handle. And I've also got a custom hay baling business, in which I've been doing it for a pretty good while now. Bale hay and cut hay and that kind of thing. Most of it is on a cost share, for the customer, and like I said, some of it I retain most of the hay.
Like most poultry producers in the state, Sean has been affected by the avian influenza scare that hit Tennessee and Alabama last winter.
As poultry farmers across America, it scared us because how effective AI is. One little small thing and it can wipe an operation out, somebody across the board. And it's caused us to beef up our biosecurity policies, make sure everything's clean. I know, especially when I do litter, my equipment's clean when it comes on the farm and when it leaves the farm. So I try to make sure that I don't transport disease to anybody's farm, and most importantly, back to my farm. Because like I said, that's our livelihood, and that's our poultry growers across the board's livelihood. And if something like AI happened, it would put a big hurting on the poultry industry in Mississippi, I believe.
In addition to that, Sean runs a cow-calf operation of about 80.
They're mostly Brangus Angus cross with a little bit of Brahma influence on the back end. I've got cattle spread out a couple different places. My grandfather helps me out on that a lot. He keeps up the day-to-day operation, kind of checking on them, making sure. He lets me know if there's something big issue that we need to address, and I usually go out there, a couple times a week, but he's there every day, so that helps me out a lot.
Sean and Morgan are relatively new to Farm Bureau, but have gotten involved quickly.
John Kilgore got me into it with Young Farmer and Rancher. I'd heard about it, but never really was into it. And he got me on the Jones County board. I currently serve on the poultry commodity, the beef commodity, and Young Farmer Advisory Board.
Morgan is a 5th grade teacher and relishes the chance to raise her children on the farm.
I think it's neat. I think it's something that, again, you learn the value of hard work, and you learn lots of different things. There's that value that you learn from it. And I'm excited that we have Blake that we're raising him on the farm. I feel like that's the way that the Lord planned for us to have our family. And we have a little girl on the way, so I feel like it's neat. I like it, and it's the way I was raised, and that's the way I hope to raise my family too.
Our next finalist is Taylor Hickman from Forest County. Taylor runs a poultry, cattle, and soybean farm near Hattiesburg.
This whole place was a dairy farm at one point. My granddad was a dairy farmer. I came along, I built these chicken houses. I built 4 of them in 2007, right after college. Started grazing a few cattle. A couple years after that, probably about 2009. Planted soybeans. A couple years after that, I rotate the cattle and soybeans. Cattle in the winter, soybeans in the summer. It's worked out pretty well so far. And then in 2016, I built 4 more chicken houses.
Taylor's houses are 500 feet long and 44 feet wide and house 22,000 birds per house. He generally raises 5 flocks per year.
They've gradually gotten heavier over the years. The market's kind of pushed them higher, and now the market's kind of pushing them for lower bird weights. So we've actually down from 10 pounds to probably around 9 now.
His cattle operation seems to complement his poultry farm.
Yeah, well, I mean, it works hand in hand. We got fertilizer from the chicken houses I can put on the fields, so it helps. The land's available, so why not put it to use? Basically, I plant the grass, keep fertilizer on the grass, check them, doctor them.
Even though he's young, Taylor's involvement with Farm Bureau is quite extensive.
I'm the Forest County president. I've been on the board since 2008.
If Taylor looks familiar to you, it could be because he starred in one of the Farm Families of Mississippi commercials a couple of years ago.
I think it's important for citizens to be aware of agriculture. Of course, I love agriculture. Everybody that's associated with Farm Bureau does, but not everybody gets those chances in life. Nobody's exposed to it. I think anybody that was exposed to it would be. So why not give the citizens and your friends, you know, something to look at and try to educate them. So I've enjoyed the Farm Families thing. I enjoy seeing a lot of my friends and stuff on those videos and billboards and stuff. I see some of them on my way to church every Sunday morning. There's the billboard.
And our winners of the 2017 Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award are David and Rebecca Arant of LaFleur County. They run a diversified row crop operation with a rich history.
My family started farming on this land in the 20s. My great-grandfather started the farm. I'm the 4th generation on the farm. My father and my uncle, they were here before me, and they are currently helping or running the farm, and I'm helping them on the operation as well. The farm is about 4,000 acres. We grow corn, soybeans, and rice, and used to grow catfish, but not anymore.
This history is not just on the farm. David's grandfather, Hugh Arant Sr., was the 6th president of Mississippi Farm Bureau from 1972 to 1988. Rebecca, however, did not grow up on a farm.
In fact, when we were living in Jackson and he started talking about coming back to the farm, I was a little bit hesitant, and in fact, I kind of had some questions about GMOs and those types of things, but I really love agriculture, and now through Farm Bureau I've learned to be an advocate and really love it. We have 3 boys, and so it is a wonderful environment for them. They're able to run around and explore and help their daddy on the farm. It's just the best place we could choose to raise a family.
David's role on the farm is to work with the corn and soybeans, making sure they all get planted correctly, sprayed, and harvested too. He's also in charge of the rice mill.
At the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, we started Delta Blues Rice. And we've been growing rice on our farm since the 70s, and we've always had rice and milled it out and given it away to friends and family. And people were always really impressed with the way the rice tasted, and to us, rice was just rice. And so, because we've only ever eaten our rice. And so kind of got an idea in our minds, let's start something, see if we can make a business out of this. So at that time, Delta Blues Rice was formed.
In just a few short years, Delta Blues Rice has become a very popular brand, and it all happens right on the farm.
When we harvest the rice in August, September, we'll put it in the bins, dry it down, get it to the right moisture content, and then as we need the rice, we'll transfer the rice to our rice mill. The first step of the rice mill is the husker, and that removes the exterior yellow husk you see on the rice. And that right there gives you brown rice. And you can eat the brown rice just like that, it's really good. If you want white rice, then you have a machine that polishes that rice bran off of the brown rice, and that gives you the white rice. As we get orders in, we bag it up and send it out. I don't want my rice to sit on the shelf for a long period of time. I like for it to be as fresh and pure as possible. And I actually had a chef tell me one time, he said, when I opened your bag of rice, your rice smelled fresh. And you know, how often have you ever heard fresh and rice being used in the same sentence? It really just doesn't happen. We're in Whole Foods Market, we're in Kroger, Rouse's Market down on the coast. Online, we're available on Amazon. You know, a lot of different avenues we're selling it. You know, a lot of boutique gift shops, boutique food stores. We're in a lot of places like that.
And a lot of good restaurants across the Southeast, and even Blue Smoke in New York City, which the chef there is a James Beard Award winner. So we're growing a little at a time.
David and Rebecca have been very active in Farm Bureau and the YFR program.
We became members of the Young Farmer and Rancher State Committee several years ago, and we've now since rotated off. But being a part of that committee, it introduced us to so many people from around the state who do the same thing we do as far as farming, but who might grow produce or grow chickens. And so, you know, when I have a question about, you know, how is this bill going to influence the chicken farmer, I can call my friend the chicken farmer. He can tell me this is good for me or this is bad for me, and I can vote yay or nay, you know, based on what he says. So that really is vital to you know, to the state agriculture.
When we moved back to farm, I didn't really feel that much a part of the agricultural operation. I didn't know that much about it, but Farm Bureau and Young Farmer and Rancher really helped equip me to talk about agriculture, and it helped me to see my passion for so many of the things that are part of our way of life, protecting water resources, you know, having good crops and what it takes to do that, developing leadership skills, communication skills. All those things are so important, and the program really developed those in us.
And so, would you please welcome to the stage our 2017 Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award winners, David and Rebecca Arand.
David and Rebecca, congratulations and good luck in Nashville.
I want to tell you congratulations, and we know you'll do well representing Mississippi Farm Bureau.
David and Rebecca, if I had to choose anybody to represent us as Young Farmers and Ranchers, it would be you, and I know you'll represent us well.
Congratulations, David and Rebecca. I know you'll do great at Nationals.
We got two good ones.
Well, I have to say this has been a huge honor for us to receive this award. It's, as was mentioned in the video, you know, my grandfather was a past president. Just being up here on the stage to represent my family and then to be able to represent Farm Bureau in Nashville is just a huge honor for us, and we're so thankful for this opportunity. You know, when Rebecca and I moved back to the Delta in 2012, we really had no idea that, you know, Farm Bureau and the Young Farmer and Rancher, or at least the Young Farmer and Rancher program even existed. And, you know, Britton Hatcher got us involved in the YFR program, and, you know, thanks to Samantha Laird and President Mike McCormick, you know, the YFR program is growing, and the YFR program has helped us grow immensely. You know, as was mentioned in the video, you know, we have lifelong friends now from around the state who we can call up and, you know, go do things with. And, you know, that's the great benefit of getting networking around the state. You know, also it's helped us develop our leadership skills. I mean, you know, in the past I would have been a nervous wreck getting up here talking to y'all, but, you know, Farm Bureau's helped me develop those skills, and for that I'm so grateful. In addition, I want to thank the sponsors. You know, the sponsors, y'all have, we have one of the best prize packages in the whole nation. And it's because of y'all's generosity, and we're so very thankful.
If you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be up here accepting an award for achievement in agriculture, I would have laughed and told you you'd lost your mind. But it is through Farm Bureau and the Young Farmer and Rancher program that I discovered my passion for agriculture, and it enabled me to have a voice to tell our story and to know that that story is important. So we're just really excited that Farm Bureau invested in us and also gave us a community that is really more like a family. So thank you to Farm Bureau and Mr. McCormick and all of our sponsors. We just appreciate you so much.